Tom Carroll, two-time world champ, and Jim Hogan upset Dane Kelleher and Charlie Coon.
On the caddies, if you say you broke the board, then they can paddle out.
The final heat of the second round sees Hawaii's Hans Hedemann along with Damian Hardman advance into the quarters. Looking back at some of the upsets, there's 1984 pipe master Joey Baran. In Heat 2 of the second round, he came up against goofy footer Barton Lynch, Chris Frohoff, and veteran Shane Horan. A formidable field of competitors, but wave selection puts Joey out. The big Hawaiian gave it his all and went out in style. Dane just put himself too deep. Simon Anderson won this event in 1982 and pulled off an incredible double tube ride, still remembered. Today, he just can't find a wave to suit his large frame. Jerry Lopez, always stylish, went down early. Usually a finalist, Australia's veteran Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew doesn't pull it off. His experience here is vast, but during his heat, he was plagued by poor wave conditions and possibly a little indecision. We didn't see much of Mark Richards this time around. He's another North Shore veteran and knows this break well. But probably the most surprising defeat of the day was an interference on Hawaii's Michael Ho. As you can see, Michael in white doesn't see Tom Curran behind him. The rules are clear, one man, one wave, and it's a hard way to be knocked out.
Michael, now the owner of a penalty in one of the top four scoring rides in the heat.
That brings us up to the quarterfinals and heat number 1. We'll have Hawaii's Derek Ho in white, Glenn Winton from Australia in green, Californian Chris Frohoff in yellow, and Australian veteran Shane Horan in the red shirt. This should be a great heat. You'll notice Glenn Winton here is paddling into the lineup. He's wearing webbed gloves in an effort to increase his paddling ability. It's a small edge in his favor. We'll see if it's enough. As the surfers reach the lineup, we're about to get underway. There's the horn, and it looks like Derek Ho will draw first blood.
And on wave number 2, Derek Ho of Hawaii.
Let's take another look. He pulls in, stalls, waits for the lip to cover him, and he's timed this wave perfectly, including a pretty artful escape. And on the outside, we've got Shane Horan, and it looks like he's got a nice wave. There's Glenn Winton to the outside. Ooh, picked off by the lip. Gotta see that one again. Looks like he got too high on the inside wall. He straightened up just enough of the lip to catch the top of his head, and it's all over. And there goes Chris Frohoff with a perfect tube ride. It's shaping up to be Chris and Derek leading the heat. Derek picks up a set wave, and he's deep. He ain't coming out of that one. Chris Frohoff, right behind Derek, finds a perfectly shaped ride. That's it for heat number 1, and the judge's decision is unanimous. Hawaii's Derek Ho takes first and advances along with Chris Frohoff of California in second. Up next in quarterfinal heat 2, Martin Potter wears the white jersey, Sean Thompson in green, world champion Tom Curran in the yellow shirt, and Mike Parsons in red. Sean Thompson has the experience here, and probably Martin Potter has the guts, although we can't ignore Tommy Curran's world champion status. And it's Mike Parsons up first. The waves seem to be picking up, and Mike's got a big one. Potts drops in late and sets up for a barrel. It's an extremely late drop. Hard for a backsider to negotiate. He goes right to his bottom turn, reaches down, grabs a rail, and flies. Finds his exit. He makes it look so easy. Out the back, we've got Tom Curran in yellow. The north section closes, and Tom pushes out the back. Sean's up next. He waits for the wave, gets a little cover up. Martin's deep in this one and times his move perfectly. Oh, nice. The horn sounds and the results are in. It's Martin Potter and Tommy Curran blasting into the semifinals. Up next in quarterfinal heat number 3, we have Mitch Thorson from Australia in white, defending champ Mark Occhilupo in green, Californian Brian McNulty in yellow, and Gary Elkerton in red. First up is Mitch Thorson.
Waves seem to be improving as the tides.
It's not a big wave, but what positioning. Let's take another look. Mitch tucks himself up inside the tube and holds on for a perfectly executed barrel ride.
Tides are off in 4 to 8 feet. Variation causing significant changes in the serving site.
The Californian Brian McNulty slips under the lip for a little cover-up.
That's nothing like in California.
There's a set on the horizon, and Gary Elkerton has the first wave. Mark Occhilupo picked up the second wave in the set, and waiting outside will pay off. It'll be a high-scoring ride for Mark. Taking another look from a water camera angle shows how experience can pay off. He times his move flawlessly and gets the desired results. He'll need a few more like this one in order to make it through.
That was his 9th ride. He's only got one more. Hit his limit.
Mitch Thorson gets a little cover-up, but the wave doesn't offer much more. Looks like Brian's a little behind the peak. Not the best wave there. Elkerton's flying on this one. Great ride for Gary. He seems unstoppable. Whoa, what a cutback and a super re-entry. And he made it. As we take another look, it's a great backside barrel for Australian Gary Elkerton. Occhi has spent most of his heat waiting outside. He paddles down the face. He's way back. No way. This wave's gonna close out. Mark has to bail. That's a bad position to be in, and he gets worked. Looks like he's all right. But things aren't looking so good for the defending champ. He's waited for the big set waves and is behind in the wave count. Watch how quickly the wave catches up to him.
Green pulling out real quick. Don't know what happened. I think he perceived a
McNulty pulls off a good tube, and it's enough to squeak into the semis. He's joined there by Gary Elkerton. That puts Mark Akilupo and fellow Australian Mitch Thorson on the beach and out of the event. In the last quarterfinal heat, Tom Carroll will wear white, Jim Hogan green, Hans Hedemann yellow, and Damien Hardman in the red jersey. Two-time world champ is first off and has a monster by the tail.
And they give it a 0. That means unless he does.
The next backside assault is made by Hans Hedemann.
Wells moving into the north angle. As we walk.
Damien Hardman picks up a smaller inside wave and maneuvers into a little cover-up. He'll have to get into more of a set wave and spend some time in the tube if he's to reach the semis. Tom seems to be owning the break right now. Tom punctured his eardrum in a wipeout at Sunset Beach and was forced to drop out of the Billabong Pro.
$10.
He checks to be certain the protective earplug is in place. The Californian Jim Hogan has a wave that looks to be perfectly formed. This kid is definitely a smooth backside surfer, and he gets deep. As we see it again, notice how Jim doesn't reach down to steady himself by holding his rail. He just shifts his body weight on his board and remains under control the whole ride. Tommy has picked off what looks like a closeout set wave. While Hans tries to hang back for the tube, the tally so far puts Hans in a position where he'll be playing catch-up.
Time is ticking away.
When all is said and done, it's the judge's decision to send Damien Hardman and Tommy Carroll into the semifinals. After a brief break, the surfers are ready and we go directly into semi-heat number 1. Michael Ho takes up a position in front of the break to coach his brother Derek with signals from shore. In semi-final heat number 1, Tom Kern is wearing yellow, Derek Ho in the white top, Martin Potter in red, and Chris Frohoff in green. The competitors paddle out into the lineup, and this is where the physical conditioning comes into play. These guys have surfed several heats each in very demanding conditions. Surfing professionally requires a training program equal to any major sport. These guys are athletes. And once again, it's Derek Ho starting things off. And he'll work this wave all the way into the inside. Let's take another look. Derek's big advantage seems to be his ability to position himself in the lineup so that he's there when the right wave comes through. That's local knowledge. Martin's on the outside with a late drop right into the barrel. A good first wave for Potter. And just out back, Chris Frohoff paddles hard and drops into an unbelievable wave. They predicted that the swell would build, and here it is. As we look at it again, we see Chris takes off late and holds his line high, setting himself up for a great tube ride. Meanwhile, Martin Potter's coach signals him that a swell is approaching. Martin responds and paddles into position.
Set of waves starting to appear out here on the third or outside reef, as you want to call it.
Derek picks off one of the smaller waves in between sets. Just building his wave count and doing a good job of it. And Tommy Curran drops in his first wave.
That's a lot of power in that wave. That's a lot of speed. Okay. Not too often you see Tom.
Taking another look, we'll see Tom's turn off the bottom. He actually turns down again, stalling, waiting for the wave to build. Turns back up the face, trims, and reaches down for a rail. He pulls in tight, but he's just too deep. Potts is up and driving down the face, right around the lip, and he cuts back right into the tube. Amazing show of raw talent. Oh, he slipped. His front foot slipped right off. That's gonna really bring down his points. The crowd's cheering for somebody that's very deep. Wow, it's Chris Frohoff in green, just being ejected from the tube. The world champ is up on the outside. Oh, he pearls slightly and goes down hard. It's tough to ride the pipeline backside, even for a world champion. Michael Ho waves his brother Derek into the outside set. It's almost as if Michael picks up the ride for Derek. Oh, he looks pleased. He's in... Oh, no, what's going on now? He pulls it off! I don't believe it. Derek Ho gets the ride of the day. He's got to be stoked about that one. Let's take another look from another angle. Derek takes off deep behind Potter, and this has to be the largest set of the day. Straight down the face, setting up for a real tube. As the wave sections and folds in front of him, it seems certain he's history. But he finds the daylight. It's a perfect score on all the judges' cards. Chris drops in right behind Derek and gets a hot little barrel. But everyone is just too stoked about Derek's ride to give it the credit it deserves. Except, of course, the judges. As the heat winds down, Martin Potter will finish things off. He seems to have patented his moves and slips right in under the hook. Gets covered, and it's out of there. Yeah. Oh, his front foot slips off the rail. That's gonna cost him. We'll go back and watch it again. This angle gives us a much better idea of just how difficult that wave really was. Martin pushes out around the whitewater and then turns right in under the lip. He pulls it off. An incredible show of the ability of this backside surfer. That will finish up the first semifinal heat. The beach is still buzzing with the talk of Derek's astonishing tube ride. Some are saying that it was the best wave ever at the pipe, the longest cover-up anyone ever remembers. The two backsiders, Martin Potter and Tom Curran, came up with one or two great rides each, but Derek and Chris just looked unbeatable. In these conditions here at the pipe, there's a definite advantage to facing the wave. We asked Martin and Tom just how things went from their viewpoint.
Yeah, I caught a few good ones. I think Derek Ho got the wave of the heat, though. He got the big barrel and stuff, but it was really close, and there was a lot of really big waves out there. It was really exciting.
I haven't done as well as I would have liked to in this contest, for example. I had a good first heat and stuff, and I would really love to be able to put it together in a competition situation, but the best times I've had is just enjoying the waves. And I think, I hope that it's only a matter of time, and I'm going to really try hard. And every year I come here, I go all out, and what it means to me is to be able to succeed competitively.
As a modest Derek Ho exits the water and receives congratulations, the officials announce the results of the first semifinal heat. That great ride by Derek was enough to send him into the finals and win this heat. He'll be joined by Chris Frohoff, who placed second with the two regular foots, Martin Potter and Tom Curran, placing third and fourth, respectively. The officials are ready to start the second semifinal heat, featuring two-time world champ Tom Carroll in yellow, Californian Brian McNulty in white, Damien Hardman in red, and fellow Australian Gary Elkerton in green. After the radical exhibition in the first semifinal heat, you can feel the excitement in the air, and the crowd presses toward the shoreline. Most of the competitors bring a backup board down to the beach. It's usually their second favorite. With conditions like today, a broken board is a definite possibility. The guys will make their way through the crowd and out into the lineup, each one with his own separate thoughts and strategies. As the surfers jostle for inside positions, the horn sounds. Tom Carroll strokes into the first wave. Fellow goofy footer Brian McNulty picks up a small wave in between sets, just feeling out the conditions and building on his own wave count.